One of my favorites. Favorites. But my first. How can it be my favorite if this is my first? I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But it's sort of a brain dump because it's the end of the week and it's the end of the week, end of the weekend. I'm tired driving. Go pick up some stuff for my kids. Got some work to do today. And it's just good to you can catch up on all of the stuff going inside my brain. And I don't know, maybe we'll stumble upon something of interest. But that's kind of where we're at. I've been thinking a lot about election stuff because, well, election season is here. We have debates underway. We have Trump getting arrested. We have all these things happening. We might have COVID coming back with a vengeance. Masks might be coming back with a vengeance. I don't know. There's so much happening out there. It's hard to take it all in. And I know some people, there's a lot of people that, the opinions are flying, right? With all this stuff happening, with Trump getting his picture taken, the election denial stuff coming back up. It's it's all very, very interesting timing. I'll say that. It's very, very interesting timing. And I can't say that I'm all that surprised. I don't know if anyone's really surprised. I don't know. I have a lot of stuff in my head, and some stuff that might even eventually become full-blown videos because I am certainly, well, I'm not surprised that people have. I'm not surprised that people have gotten mad or angry or had certain opinions on things. I worry about the polarization of the communities. Lack of nuance to an extent. The inability to question certain things, or even be fair and balanced, as it were. That is something that I think about a lot. And it's weird because there's a part of me that feels like I can't even comment on something because someone might get offended, or because I'm tied to certain people, that I can't have an opinion on certain things. And that it's almost antithetical to why I started doing YouTube. So maybe over the next however many minutes I'll gain a little bit more courage in being specific in what I'm saying. But I think it's important for those looking back on this, and I'm glad I'm leading with this because hopefully people will see it. Don't be afraid of nuanced discussion, or even questioning what someone may think. If someone's telling you something and it's highly motivated by emotion and visceral, it's likely that they come from a somewhat disingenuous place, and I think that it's important to call it out, not to make the person look stupid, but because if you're on whatever side of the culture war that you're on, you need to at least acknowledge the person as a human first, and then sort of work back from there. Okay, I see you as a person. I'm not going to denigrate you as such, but there's some things that we need to call into question in regards to A, B, and C. And when either side polarizes or even does, when either side gets to a point where they're not allowing the discussion to happen because of a certain opinion, we've lost the way. We've lost the way. There needs to be some semblance of humanity, even in these really, really difficult debates, and especially when someone is not familiar with a particular subject matter and they're only trying to clarify certain points, like, oh, you say this, but it isn't that. Like, do we have proof of that? Well, it's important that, when you label someone as something, that there needs to be some sort of truth behind it. And we've gotten away from that. Every single person, I think. I'm guilty of it sometimes. Even something small as, like, when you try and tell someone, you're always like this. Well, chances are they're not always like that. Chances are they're like that a lot of the time. But there's a big difference in the language. I've said this before. A lot of our language has been, it's been hijacked, but to some extent there's been a lot of language that has been made to mean less than, because we have the ability to change what we say almost instantaneously. Where in the past, if you wanted to say something or communicate with somebody, you had a very small window to do so, and a lot of times, if you're sending a note, it needed to be on point right away. You couldn't make mistakes in that letter. You couldn't make mistakes in there. It needed to say everything it needed to say, precisely as it needed to be said. That is just, but it's changed. We no longer need to act in that way. We no longer need to act with precision with our words, because we can just correct it at any point. But the downside to that is those words can be taken as, oh, well, you said this. Well, I misspoke. I didn't mean to say that. We don't need to think through our positions before we say that. Again, I'm as guilty as anyone in this, and part of reactionary or commentary content is that you kind of need to update those positions at some point or another. Whether or not people see them, well, that's a totally different story, but it's still, I think, incumbent upon us to say the things that we need to say, but correct ourselves when we need to be corrected. But most importantly, at some point, one side or the other needs to break the mold and start speaking from a place that is not disingenuous. I think we take some pretty disingenuous sides a lot of times. Hey, what's up, Ego? I'm always in favor of nuanced discussions and believe we need more of them. Yes, sir. What's up, the Beast? Good to see you, man. Yeah, the problem is, if I missed your chats, guys, I don't have my other phone on me today, so I can't really see as I'm driving. Like, I almost clipped this guy's tail, and because of that. But I'll do my best to see. Yeah, what up, Meta? I know, guys. This is where I'm this is what you have to know about me. This is why I'm a lot different than a lot of the other content creators on this platform. I am not so beholden to one idea that I will, make 30 videos on one particular thing. When I did my 2 videos on Adam 22, that was a bit much for me. Because, I really don't care all that much. I did it because I knew at least one of those would probably go a little not viral, but it would get some traction on this platform. But it's really hard for me to dig my heels in on something and say, this is the way something is. There's no other way about it. I think it's so important that as we go into this new election season, that we recognize that there's some pretty weird stuff happening surrounding former President Trump. I think there's a lot of stuff, weird stuff happening in the vein of COVID. I know people are saying that mandates are going to come back. Are they going to come back? I don't think I'll see them in my area. I'm seeing people in masks a little bit more right now. And I'm also seeing, like, when I was dropping my son off at school the other day, I noticed that one of the teachers was like putting hand sanitizer in every kid's hand. Now, kids are gross and disgusting and little piles of disease, but still, it seemed like overkill. Like, never when I was a kid was there a teacher standing at the door holding hand sanitizer. That's a very 2023 thing. But, you know, allow people to ask questions about things that we might not particularly care for, because not everyone has the information. And I think that's the biggest misconception, especially in this community. When you see people who are fellowship adjacent talking about topics that a lot of us know about, and then they're asking questions about certain people, whether they're dissenters or are friends of ours, or, you know, people that we are in our community, you know, or when people start platforming other people because they want to know, they want people to have a voice or a side, and people get mad because they say, well, you're not supposed to do that to that person. And I unfortunately staunchly disagree. You know, again, I'm being intentionally vague because I don't really, you know, I don't know. I've had private discussions with people, and, you know, I don't necessarily want them to feel outed or whatever. But you gotta realize the biggest thing right now is convincing everybody that you need to know. Is convincing everyone that you need to know everything, or that we do know everything. You know, I don't know everything about the fellowship community. I don't know everything that G&G is doing, or Gary from Nerd Product is doing, or anyone else. You know, I have my own stuff, my own content that I'm trying to put out there for you guys, and I can't necessarily be, you know, I can't know it all. I can't be up to date on everything because I have life. But in respect to the whole platforming people that you believe shouldn't be platformed, I think that's a weird take to have in this day and age, especially like when it comes to Comicsgate or Fandom Menace, or however you want to label it. Like, we were supposed to be people that didn't know, or that were, you know, on one side or the other, were being silenced because of our dissenting opinions. And now all of a sudden, when we want to, like, if someone wanted to talk about, you know, talk to somebody who was a real thorn in someone's side and try and get the skinny on what's happening, now all of a sudden that person is bad for wanting to do that. I was like, listen, I'm not trying to gas anyone up. I'm trying to give anyone, you know, more fame than they deserve. But I would certainly like to get to the root cause. I want to be someone who's known, at least I'm speaking for myself. I can't speak for this other person. I want to be known as someone who can talk to my enemies as good as I can my friends, in order to understand where they're coming from. Like, why is this such a thing? Why is your brain so occupied with people that, you know, really have no effect on you? And you know, I could turn around and ask the same question to friends. We had a really big discussion, like, regarding Barbie and all that on our show on Rumble on Wednesday. Got pretty heated. But I have to say, like, at the end of it, like, everyone sort of kind of came back around, and I think we kind of figured it all out. But, you know, we need to be able to push back on on people and understand them as like humans in a way, because really at the end of the day, the person that you hate the most, on YouTube is still human. And whether you want to believe it or not, they probably have fairly good intentions for those closest to them. We aren't the ones closest to them, but you still have to be fair in that, like, you know, they've made it as far as they have, and some of them are big names in their own space. Something is to be said for that. It doesn't mean you have to like everything they say or believe that, you know, that they're doing necessarily any good for humanity. Like, maybe they are giving out the wrong message, but they're likely taking care of, there's people that trust in them. There are those that they're probably taking care of close to them. I could totally be wrong, but in that way, I will often give people the benefit of the doubt, because I think it's important. I want the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Hassan Piker has good intentions. Well, I mean, no, and here's the difference, Meta, right? So, as far as I think Hassan Piker is really good at the grifts, right? He's good at what he does on YouTube in the way that he knows how to make money. He knows what he needs to say. I think he believes a lot of what he says, but he knows what's going to get him the clicks. He knows what's going to get him attention, and he runs with that. Is that how he operates in his everyday life? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see how anybody could operate like that in their own life. You know, like really look at like someone like him in the messages he pushes. But like, he's also like, I don't know, like, does he have a girlfriend? I don't even know. He doesn't have a wife and kids, as far as I know. He might have someone he's, you know, sweet on, romantic with, or whatever. So, like, in a way, he's doing his own, like, his life is a product of how he is online. So let him do it. Like, I've heard 100 times, and I'll use this example. I've heard a lot. Yeah, no, I agree, Meta, to an extent. Nihilist, maybe not quite, but like, I don't think he believes a lot of what he says. I think he does it because he knows it's going to make him money. And again, I think that's a product of why he might not, you know, I've never heard that he has a wife and kids, you know, so, but there's probably a correlation there, you know. I certainly wouldn't be surprised. Well, something I've heard about, like, someone like Destiny. I know a lot of people in this community don't particularly care for a guy like Destiny, but I've said before, like, I've heard that he is actually pretty normal, like, to go out, like, if you were to go out and meet him and eat, like, lunch with him, he'd be a totally normal, like, just talking about his life, talking about stuff he likes, you know, like, there's a time and a place for him, you know, and he's someone who's self-aware enough to say, like, I live this lifestyle, it's not for everyone, don't live that way. Good for you, man, because there's a lot of people out there who don't do that. Do I agree with everything Destiny says? Absolutely not. I can respect his hustle and how he does it, but I think there's a large bit of Trump derangement. I think there's a lot of things I don't agree with him on, but I still respect his hustle. I think he lives his life a little bit more authentically than a lot of commentators out there that might be on the left. But, you know, I don't know. I've been thinking about this for a couple days because I don't ever want to feel like I can't say my piece in a discussion, you know, to be truthful with friends in a way that might hurt their feelings just a little bit, but, like, let them know, like, hey, like, you might be misguided in this particular way, you know. Like, Meta, you may have fallen asleep, you know, but our discussion, I think, was surrounding, oh, I remember, I should go clip this out and, like, and let it, I almost do, like, an analysis on it, because Lofty, of course, started it, right? Not of course. He started it with a comment regarding Robert De Niro's comments about the new Scorsese movie and how he made it about Trump. And the long and the short of the argument began because, Lofty said, if you're not going to go see a movie because De Niro said you're stupid, then that makes you stupid. So, and then the fight sort of ensued from there. And the funny thing is that, like, I was sitting there thinking, oh, well, what I heard didn't offend me. It didn't, I don't know if it necessarily offended anybody, but I thought, like, well, I can agree with this because Lofty was wrong. Well, I mean, so here, this is where we're going to break this down. And I think I sort of explained this on the actual live stream. There's nothing wrong. I mean, De Niro's comments were stupid and had nothing to do with the movie. And they are his comments, not the opinions of Scorsese. And because Scorsese even openly was like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't about Trump. This is about our movie. Huge points to Scorsese there. And if you let someone like De Niro sway your opinion, like, I mean, I think a lot of us can agree that that movie, I forget what it's called now, but that movie is likely to be really, really good, especially with DiCaprio in the role. So I don't know. So he's not wrong. I think Lofty says things for a reaction sometimes. Yeah, I think so. I think he meant what he said here. I don't think he was looking for a reaction or to make anyone mad in this case. I think he just said what he thought. And to his point, him saying what he said wasn't calling out anyone on the panel or like insulting them directly. It was saying, don't let someone like him influence you in going to seeing good movies. Right? Like, and this all started because we were talking about Barbie. There are good movies out there that people are not seeing because an actor, and so the counter argument was, well, I'm not going to put money in people's pockets that hate me. And of course, but everyone has the choice to do that. The point is the nuanced discussion around giving De Niro power over you because he has Trump deranged syndrome versus like don't give money to people that hate you. Like, I understand we're walking a fine line here, and that's totally okay. Like, we can't. I don't think it's a good idea to allow people like De Niro, who are stupid, Trump deranged assholes, to dictate what we want to see and what we don't want to see. That's all. Now, do I think that how Lofty phrased a lot of his shit was very poorly worded? Absolutely. I think he totally dropped the ball with his wording on things. And I think his words were a bit misconstrued at times. That's all. That doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make me insensitive to those who felt slighted by him. But everyone will say, well, it's not your place to tell other people how they're supposed to feel. I mean, but I don't, a lot of us in this space are in agreement that, like, words are not violence, sticks and stones, all that sort of thing. So using that as a counter argument in an argument is not always a great position to take. Like I said, Lofty was, I think, out of line with his wording. And because of that, like, but the discussion should be there. It's okay. It's okay to not want to see a movie because De Niro said something. Do I think it's silly? Sure. Because I don't want to give De Niro power over me. I'm not going to hate someone because they went to see a movie of an actor I don't like. That's peak tribalism. Low vibration and stuff. Yeah, like, again, it's just one of those things that, like, everybody knows that a lot of actors were broken over the past couple of years regarding certain things. So I'm not, like, I can't in good conscience, like, just I can't take anything that they say seriously. I can't take anything they say seriously. But I know because it was something that Lofty said, everyone blows it up 1,000 times more. When you really sit down with Lofty, like one-on-one, and those of you who ever have done that, like, he does have an extensive knowledge of film, and it's really, really great to talk to him about it because he looks at it in ways that a lot of us just don't. Looks at it from a very critical eye. Does he like everything that you like? No. Do you like everything that I like? No, that's never the point. It's art, you morons. And I say morons in the most loving possible way because I do love all of you equally. Love you all equally. And I hate you all equally too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't hate any of you. I love all of you for giving me the time that you do because I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. Let's see what was said. Lofty was wrong in his delivery, not the message. Yes, I agree with that, the Beast. It's easy for me. I am sick of the weirdos ruining everything. Therefore, I will not support the weirdos any way I can find and actively make it more difficult on myself to do so. So here's the question, Sleazy. I hear you. If it were a Robert De Niro movie, I would say absolutely, you're right. But it's not a Robert De Niro movie. It's a Martin Scorsese movie. And Scorsese even called him out on his bullshit. So to that length, I will absolutely support it because it's not a De Niro movie. De Niro's in the movie, but it's not his movie. And while he may get a small cut or a cut of the sales to that movie, I don't think it's smart to affect an otherwise great film because one person said something insanely dumb. That really carries no weight for anything. But if there's other reasons that you won't see it, that's fine too. But that's my point. That was my whole point, was that it was a Scorsese movie who actually stood up to him and said, fuck off. Lofty has a way with words, a way to piss people. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, he's not the most eloquent speaker. I don't think that title is ever, he's ever claimed to be a wordsmith necessarily. But yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. And this is where I'll never be someone like Lofty, or I'll never be someone like some of the guys from G&G or anything like that. And that's never been my goal because I have a very hard time being like, this is how it is. Because I could be wrong. And maybe that makes me a person who's really difficult to watch at times. Because I can't commit one way or the other. Maybe that is something that I will struggle with for ages. I don't know. But Lofty can, and he will, and that's what makes him popular. Or infamous in this. He's infamous for doing this, right? Because he believes what he believes, and he'll just speak his mind. And I won't, because, and I don't know, maybe admitting that is like a death blow to myself. But perhaps I just committed digital seppuku or whatever it's called. But I mean, I think it's important to be upfront with y'all, like really from the jump, that my life, like everybody else's, changes so rapidly, so quickly sometimes that it's hard for me to take a stance. There's some things that I truly believe in and I will fight, but I will change my mind if things come to light that, that allow me to change one way or the other. Maybe you and Tim Pool should have a show together. No. Would I love to talk to Tim sometime? Sure. Could I do a show with him? No. I don't watch his show anymore, not for any other reason than I don't like how he talks over people. I understand it's his show, but I can't stand that he'll talk over like his guests and like his co-hosts. I get it's Timcast IRL. I get it. But one thing that I've tried to be really good at recently is to like defer to the guest, right? If someone's on the show, my show, the midweek hump, or whatever it is, whatever thing, I try and defer to that person because that's why they're there. I want to hear their opinion. But he almost runs his show too tight, where it just feels like, I don't care. Like, let the guest talk, bro. No, it's, like I said, I don't, and I knew you would probably say that about, Tim Pool or whatever, given our mutual friends and whatnot. But it sucks that being, I guess is a fence sitter. Is that what I am? Like, I don't know. Like I will take actual stances, but I'm not afraid to change my mind on something based on new information. Like, I think that's what people are so afraid of, is only in politics is changing your mind a bad thing. In real life, changing your mind is totally normal. Gathering new information and understanding, like, oh, hey, we were actually wrong about this. That's completely normal. And every single person out there was like defending this in the early days of the coup. We didn't want just one side to be talking about a certain thing. We said, no, new information's come to light now. So it's just, well, in science it's difficult to change your mind, but pushing back in science is perfectly normal. Politics, you can't change your mind. Every single one of us has changed our mind or our position on something at some point in our lives based on new information. That's where I'm coming from. I mean, I guess I could put videos out that are like, this is how it is. And maybe I would do better. I might be wrong, but I fucking doubt it. The Beast 2023. Yeah. Like everything that's happening in Maui right now, I think, like, do I think it's some direct energy weapon? No. I don't think it's a direct energy weapon. Do I think it's complete, like, do I think the Hawaiian government totally dropped the ball in this disaster and cost the lives of so many innocent people? Absolutely. Do I believe it's for nefarious purposes of setting up a smart city? I don't know. A lot of the money that's moving around would suggest so. Do I think that the U.S. government has taken an insane amount of time to get some relief there? Yeah. Like, all of this stuff points in weird directions. Is it enough for me to say that, direct energy weapons killed almost everyone in this area? No, I don't think so. I think it's a cool, like, science fiction story to tell. But there's so much I don't know. So is it worth looking like a complete asshat conspiracy theorist to like put all that out there, or is it safer to say there was a metric fuck ton of government, like, negligence that led to thousands of acres being burned and hundreds of people's lives lost? Like, I've seen a couple articles that made me just, like, break down for these people. I don't even want to say what it is because it's so sad. Like, it's nuts, man. It's nuts where we're at right now. But I can't help but think, like is it worth delving into that, like, direct energy weapon shit? Like, I don't want to run my account the way Owen Benjamin runs his fucking account. Like I wanna like really like take somewhat like nuanced positions in this whole thing, because a part of me doesn't want to be completely black pilled, to think that there's so many bad actors out there. There's so many like shitty people that are just trying to land grab, that are trying to like build smart cities and like even more surveillance than we already have. Like, people talk about the 24-hour like surveillance state. We're already in that, guys. We're already in that. You're the device that you're watching me on right now. That shit's watching you constantly. You know how many location services that you have activated on there? Most people have activated on there. A lot of people here might have deactivated all that stuff, but like everything, every bit of data that you put through your phone, your computer, is being monitored. There's cameras everywhere. There's cameras out like on road work where they set up those lights that are, the temporary lights that do the traffic. There's cameras on those damn things now. My CIA, FBI handlers are watching us right now. Yeah. Dude, like, especially since the Patriot Act was signed into law, like, you've been monitored way more than you realize. It's very easy to track your whereabouts. These companies have access to you. Like, this is just the next logical step in a history that we've created for ourselves, because we allow government, we allow politicians to run our life, to think that they have our best interest at hand. And that much, I would say, is fine to say, because there's so many like people who claim to have our best interests at heart, and yet, like, our data is everywhere. Our loves, our interests, these companies, they can take it and sell it to people however they want to sell us stuff. Has it made our lives easy? Yep, sure has. No doubt about it. When you go to your internet browser and you start typing something in, and it pops up with what you want, that is 100% within our control to turn that off. But we don't, because our life is exponentially easier because of it. Humanity is a victim of its very own success, and it's a huge reason that we are in the position we are now. A huge reason we're in the position we are now. Like, our lives, we could impose some sort of difficulty on our life, like a social gravity. Like social gravity. Like, right now, our life is so easy that there's no social gravity. Like, developing relationships is a click away. Nobody knows how to deal with people anymore, because what they've been taught is like, oh, just talk to someone through a screen. No one knows how to interact with people. Get all weird when they have to do an interview. Like, they don't want to talk to people in real life. Don't get me wrong, I get this way sometimes too. But once I put myself out there, I realize, oh, this is good for me. And I say social gravity because, like, there's a reason that we're able to build muscle the way we do, because gravity is exerted down as a downward force on us, and because of that, things feel heavy, right? There's a weight to things. We have to do the same thing with our social relationships. The internet makes our social relationships weightless. It makes our social relationships completely weightless. Whereas our relationships in real life and having like hard discussions, that is the social gravity I'm talking about. And a lot of us don't know how to navigate that space. We don't. We are a victim of our own success. We wanted all this stuff. We wanted to be able to just, oh, I needed a part for my computer. No problem. I was ordering on Amazon. You don't have to search for it anymore. You don't have to go around and ask or call. Nope. Just look online. It'll be downloaded there for you. Should we live without it? No, that's for you to decide. The Patriot Act felt icky back before I was into this political shit. Never trust the government with power. Yeah. People getting too used to talking shit and not getting punched in the mouth. Right, man. Get cracks. You know as well as anyone, like in certain places of the world, you get mouthy with people, they'll still rock your world. Like, sorry, not here, pal, not here. And without places like Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, if we had been in a place that, you know, these people wouldn't act the way they do, but because they can remain anonymous behind, you know, their little window, it's easy to say stuff like this, to create threats, or to what's it called, SWAT somebody. Oh yeah, I'm gonna SWAT this guy. Oh yeah, so yeah, you don't have to get mouthy. You just, because who you are. Hawaii is one of those places. It's not all hula skirts and rainbows. No, sir. One of my favorite quotes I saw on my buddy's license plate ring. It said, "Never mistake aloha for weakness." I just thought, damn, that's good. They're some of the baddest dudes I know in Hawaii. They are the nicest people, but boy, do I know that they would not hesitate for a second to punch someone in the mouth. Never mistake aloha for weakness. It's like the best slogan or tagline ever. That's my brain dump. I might go into more depth. I totally just came up with like social gravity. So I might talk more about that in a video, because I think it's worth mentioning. And I don't know, maybe people have said that before, but I feel like giving it a name like that makes it easier for people to understand what I'm saying. But yeah, Car-versation #1 in the books. What? I gotta go get a book. I'm gonna go buy 2 books that I can read, because I can read. Did you know that I can read? But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the thumbs up. Appreciate you guys hanging out for as long as you did. If you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. And then if you're watching this VOD and you've made it this far, you know, let me know what you think about the topics that we discussed. You know, like, how are you feeling about nuanced conversations? How are you feeling about, you know, people's inability to be in a social environment? Like, is social gravity something that we are missing, or the you know, surveillance state? You know, is the ploy in Maui, is the smart city model, is that what's happening in Maui, or what? Stay blessed, everybody. Appreciate y'all. I'm gonna go, like I said, I'm gonna go get a book so I can read and seem smart. But yeah, I almost got jumped in prison just for swearing in a Bible. Oh damn, dude. Metastep, don't get killed. Well, I'm gonna probably play some the Minecraft with my son later today. But I got some work to do before I jump on, so I'll see you guys soon. Very, very much appreciated. Peace.